Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Some very basics about the presentation and their techniques. Um, First of all, what is a presentation? Presentation is communication, and as you know, that in any communication, there are communicators, there is a medium, and there is a content. So three basic things: communicators, medium, and content. Um, Communication can be verbal and non-verbal, and verbal communication can be written and oral. Usually a presentation is both written and oral combined verbal presentation. Um, as far as the communicators are concerned, communicators can be active. The active communicator is the one who is presenting, and the passive one who is either listening or viewing. Um, it may not be necessarily so, because in interactive presentations, both the communicators can be active. Content can be written. It can be it can be something non-written. And the medium. Medium can be auditory, can be visual, or combined audiovisual. So in most of the presentations, the medium is audiovisual. Uh, Characteristics of a combined oral and written verbal presentation. It is more effective than oral or written communication alone, because the advantages of both auditory and visual inputs are combined and enhanced. Usually the written part is used for highlighting, and the oral part is used for elaborating the text presented in the slides. Usually prepared in advance, but can be made during the presentation, especially for totally interactive sessions. It usually needs a combined audiovisual aid rather than simple auditory or visual arrangements alone. Characteristics of a good verbal presenter. One should be appropriately audible, neither too loud nor too mute or feeble. Um, for this, what I usually do just at the beginning of the presentation, that I listen to the presentation prior to mine, and just try to find out whether the audiovisual things are working well or not. Otherwise, if it's my first presentation, then I usually slightly tap the mic and just try to estimate what is the auditory output of the mic. Appropriately legible. So the language that should be used should be the language which is most appropriate for the audience. Neither too fast nor too slow, neither too feeble nor too loud. Appropriately bearable. So usually the behavior of the presenter should be a modest one, neither very arrogant nor very shy, so that it should leave a good impact on the audience. Appropriately authentic. So facts and reproducible evidence is the basic core of authenticity. But those presentations which are loaded with evidence are also not bearable and usually not tolerable by the audience. Appropriately illustrative, stories, examples, cases, these are the ones which can help to illustrate the presentation. Good content, tailored to the audience. One should know the audience whom you are talking to, what do they want, and in how much time do they want this presentation to be finished. Tailored to the topic and objective. First of all, one should know the topic about which one is talking about, and what is the expectation of the audience about that topic. Time management is very important. Too long a presentation makes the audience bored. Tailored to the space. If it is a bigger space, then it needs to be supported by some auditory aid, like for example a microphone. If it is a small space, then one can talk without an auditory aid. Tailored to the technical support. One should know the hardware and the software with which one has to deal with at the time of presentation. tailored to yourself. One should know the topic and be prepared for it. So the medium of presentation needs a hardware and a software. Hardware both for preparation and for presentation. Hardware for preparation can be paper-based, like we used to have in older times when this audio-visual aids were not so advanced. So most of the presentations were paper-based. One had to write over the paper and do the presentation. But nowadays, desktops, laptops, and now even cell phones can be used for presentation, connected to the audiovisual aids and used for presentation, audiovisual recording also. Hardware for presentation, accessories for handwritten presentation, blackboards, whiteboards, etc. Laptop, tablet, cell phones, desktop projector, and connections. One can do remote presentations while doing the presentation at one place and broadcasting it to a distant place. Softwares for presentation. So most of the times we are using PowerPoint. But there are other softwares which are available for presentation, like for example, these Google Slides. Google Slides, it works just like PowerPoint. Anybody can link through Google Slides for presentation, and it can be used for collaborative presentations. Zoho Show. Zoho Show can be collaborative, creative, and it is also compatible with the other apps. It can be used for desktops, laptops, and for cell phones. Slides. Slides usually use a slide library from which slides can be taken and can be used to prepare your own slides. Prezi. Prezi is just like a map, a single slide in which your slides are displayed at different locations. You can display your slides more than once in the same presentation. It is difficult to prepare, but it is a very handy tool. Microsoft Sway. Microsoft Sway, this can convert the theme and style of your presentation even at the spot during the presentation. And it can change the graph, animation, or picture. Canva, this is good for creative presentations. It has the ability to design and broadcast. It can crop a photo, label it, and add a speech bubble to it. So it's a very handy presentation. Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark is good for making the video, and you can do your presentation while the video is being played in the background, and you can add text to Adobe Spark. Swipe. Swipe is a very quick way to compile a number of different items, like for example, graphs, photos, texts, graphics, etc. And it can make a very useful presentation. SlideBean. SlideBean, it can be, you just have to add outlines of text, and it can make presentations out of it. A very handy tool. Evernote. Evernote presentation, it can make your presentation from the notes. You just have to add the notes, and it can make a presentation out of that. DexSet. DexSet is an artificial intelligence tool. It can suggest to you the solutions even during the presentation, at the time of preparation and at the time of presentation. Keynote. Apple Keynote is known for its beautiful animations. And lastly, but not the least, PowerPoint. PowerPoint is the one that we usually use. We are familiar to it. It can work at any tool, desktop, laptop, or cell phone, and at any place. Thank you.